about, let's talk about state envy. This article I wrote was all about comparing ourselves to other states, and I wonder whether there are policies or physical companies or power plants in other states that you just look at and say, man, I wish we could do that here in Rhode Island. Are there any examples that come to mind?
Well, I think there's a number of places that do public transit better than Rhode Island does, and that really just comes down to financial support. I'd love to go back to that last question.
Sure.
Because I don't think we talked about all the jobs that we could create here. We forgot agriculture.
Yeah.
You know, one of our few growing parts of the economy, which has just done great over the past few years. Had some small part in that, running a CSA off my property, community gardening. You know, people love to get their hands in the dirt, and it's not a high-paying job, but there are jobs in it, and we could do more to sort of lower the barriers for entry for new farmers. You know, a lot of the farmers who are really well established are getting pretty old, and we're going to need new generations. And you know, I think it might be a RISD graduate who designs the next awesome bag. It's our job to try and keep the RISD graduates here in Rhode Island. And I think a lot of these things feed back on each other. So investing in public transit and creating you know, a beautiful downtown is what's going to keep our graduates from our big universities here in the city. I think there's, like I said, a ton of jobs available in renewable energy if we decide to actually promote it here in the state. And one of the things I thought was great that you touched on in the article, you interviewed Doug Sabetti, who's a solar installer, and he talks about how there used to be a lot more jobs. But one of the barriers for the solar industry is that you need an electrician on staff in order to get anything done in the state. And so we need a fix that allows more flexibility in that labor market. In addition just to incentivizing solar or renewable in general. So I think there's jobs there, there's just a few barriers there. The land prices are a barrier for farmers, but all these things can be dealt with in various policy ways. And I was very optimistic probably the first time I spoke. I do want to say that we do face this very entrenched sort of economic growth, I'll call it the RIPEC attitude, the Public Expenditure Council here in Rhode Island, which is just oriented towards the status quo. And, you know, they say they want economic growth, but what they really want is to maintain the status quo and to make more money doing it. So they advocate for lower taxes, saying that's going to increase economic growth, but it doesn't increase economic growth, it just increases their profits. So that crowd has more sway than, say, it should, because they don't represent, you know, the people of Rhode Island. They represent a very few people, and I think that pattern follows across the country, of course. And part of that problem is the fact that we don't have a lot of competition in our politics. So the people who've been there for a long time, who've been talking to the same crowd of people, who've been always whispering the same thing, you know, economic growth means lower taxes. They're there, and they've been there for years and decades, and we need more competitiveness in our political system.